Hello and welcome back to this session. Now, if you remember in the previous session, we have created an assembly, and this assembly contains the parts which are made using product interface option inside NX. Okay, so if you have not seen the previous sessions, I would recommend you to go and check the previous sessions and also try to create this assembly by yourself. You can see the values, you can see what I'm doing, and also try to replicate the same at your end. Now, what we are going to do is, first of all, we are going to go to this option called File, Assembly Load option, this option over here, and we are going to decide how the assembly will be loaded. So here the scope, the version will be from folder. Okay, inside scope, we should have fully loaded selected, load interpart data. Okay, and here in reference set, we are going to select use model, and I'm going to click OK. Now, after you define all the conditions, either we can open the assembly, and if the assembly is visible in this history area, I can click on the assembly over here. Now, if you remember, I created this assembly with product interface. Now, let's say there is a small change, my bosses or my vendors or my clients want me to make in order to make this assembly more robust. For example, they want me to change the thickness of the top and bottom plate. Rather than 40 mm, they want me to increase it to 45 mm. Okay, also they want to increase a length a little bit or reduce the length a little bit or make the length and width equal. Okay, so what I can do to make those changes, I can go to file and click on open. If I would have created this part normally like any other part, I would have opened one part at a time. I would have done all the changes, and then come back to this, right? So I'll change this option called reopen. I'll choose the option called reopen. And here I have a bottom plate, and here I can modify this sketch. So first condition is I want it to be a square. So I can say this is 300 by 300 now. And I also want this to be having a thickness of 45 mm. So I'll modify the extrude and make it 45 mm. Or for this example, I'll make it 50 mm. Okay. Now, if I save this file, I'll just save so that everything will be updated. And if I close this file, you can see my assembly shows the same thing change so easily. If this is any other file without any product interface, what could have happened is this file or this particular part would have changed, but nothing else would have changed. But here what is happening, the top plate is changing, the bottom plate is changing, the guide bushes are changing, everything is changing. Okay, and also the location in the assembly is also getting redefined. So this is the best part of having a product interface assembly. We can change one or two components and we can see other components which are linked to that part change respectively. Okay. Also, if suppose I want to create a clone of this assembly, I can with the link, because now if I go to this folder, I have a master folder here. I have all the components here and all the components are linked to each other. So let's say I want to create a clone. So here, let's say I'm creating a folder called clone. I want to have a separate assembly with some separate changes or some separate values. What I can do, I can first of all, I don't need to have this open. I can click on close. I can say all parts. I can close all the parts. I can go to menu, assembly, cloning. And here I can say create a clone assembly. Now here what I can do, I can define some rules how to create the clone assembly. First of all, I can click here to add an assembly and I can add the press tool assembly here. Then I can go to load options. I can say from directory. Okay, add assembly is already done. So we already have selected the assembly which I wanted to add. Okay, so don't do it twice. Okay, I'll just clear this for now. Again, I'll do it. So load options from directory, add assembly. I'll select the assembly to add. Then in naming, I have to define some naming rules. So if you want to have a prefix or suffix, so let's say I want to have a prefix before every name. I want 1321 underscore before the name of every part. So I can click, then I can define the naming rule. I can define the output directory. So output directory will be a different folder. Okay. And once I'm done with all the things, I have to at least see these four things here: naming, assembly, and output directory. Once I'm defined with all four, I can click on execute. Now what the software is going to do is it's going to create a clone in that folder, in that location. So now if I go to the clone folder, you can see the clone is created. Okay, and not only that, I can go to open and open the cloned assembly. So this is a cloned assembly. Okay, and here you can see the names are different. Every links in been carried forward. If I modify the bottom plate, Okay, let's say I want to modify the bottom plate. I want to make it again 500 mm, and I want to click on finish. You can see the entire assembly is getting up to date along with the bottom plate. So this is the benefit you are getting when you are using the option called product interface. I hope you understood product interface and assembly cloning properly. So this will give you a very huge boost in creating parts, reference to other parts, okay, referring to other parts, and also creating a proper assembly with least human error possible. I hope you understood the sessions properly. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.